That's who we got right here. Mr. Jeffery L Wall, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, my friend. How about yourself? Oh, I love that. I love that.
Maintaining. I'm about to behave myself from here on out because you're a pastor, and I'm going to let Miss Donna do most of the talking.
No, I'm just a man.
Wow. And those are big shoes to fill. So.
Yeah. I'm glad it's not me. I'm glad I don't have to do it. I just have to rely on him to do it through me.
Wow. Take it away, Donna.
Wow.
I'll jump in.
Well, Mr. Wall, the last time I saw you, I was sitting at the was it the Carolina? No, it was in the Carolina Theater. I was sitting at the theater in North Carolina.
The Carousel.
And the Carousel, right. I always get those two mixed up, the Carolina Theater and the Carousel. I don't know why,
I know.
But I do. It will forever be mixed up for me. But I just remember sitting down and watching you, and you're pretty cool people to watch on the big screen. I was like, wow.
Look at you, Donna. You know all the right things to say.
Oh.
She's a flatterer. Donna's a flatterer. Be careful. She flatters you and anything. She'll have you doing a show somewhere soon.
We'll see.
Yes. She'll have you.
I'm available to do shows.
Oh man, but it was no. I have to say, it was truly my pleasure watching you. You were really good. I enjoyed you. I really got into your part, and and I know I asked you this on the red carpet that night, like how did you feel about the part you were playing? But it was real fast. There was a lot of commotion, and and the lights were clickering and flickering and all that other good stuff. But
wait, tell us about the role. Well, what was the role and what was the production? I want to know about that.
Oh, okay. Tell us about that. But it was about It Takes a Village. All the folks that don't know what I'm talking about, like, okay, where are you going with this, Donna? It Takes a Village, and he played the father of a young lady that was, I don't know, she was tampered with by your brother. And how you felt about it. And I was like, really, like, I could really, like, was like, yes. I could feel how you were feeling, So, tell us about that.
Well, the role, it was one of those things that I believe that we all, as a people, we sort of fear in a sense that we don't talk about those things, especially when we may know that they have occurred, where there's a family member that may have crossed the line with another family member in the way of maybe molestation or abuse, and but it had happened in my family in this particular show, and it was my brother, and it got to a point where my daughter, I believe that she just couldn't take it any longer, and she just had to tell us that if he's coming over for the weekend, I don't want to be here. Let me go spend the night over my girlfriend's house. I know what he wants to do whenever he finds the opportunity or the time to get me alone. He makes her dance. He's a dancer, and he would make her dance for him while he would be touching her at the same time. So it finally came out, and it's just one of those things. It's a thin line. I sort of snapped. I thought about my daughter, who I'll be taking to Carolina on Wednesday. Thank God, full scholarship.
Wow.
Biomedical. Congratulations. And so she's 18. And so that was easy for me to get into that character.
Mm-hmm.
And the brother played by the name of Tyson Carr, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a great job. If you had the opportunity to see it or any snippets of it, once I got wind of it, I first of all had to take care of my daughter. I had to make sure that she understood that it wasn't her fault, that it was nothing that she did to contribute to what occurred, but that I had dropped the ball on that. I was going to take this one. It was my bad in a sense. I got this. I'm going to take care of you, and I let her know that and she's still loved. She's still my little angel. But then I had to go take care of business, and if you had opportunity, I sort of, he was trying to leave. He sort of got wind of my daughter when he came through the door. She took off into the room. I wondered what was happening because she was practicing her dance routine. And so when I saw that my wife was played by simply net Karen Kenyon. She played my wife. And she was just trying to keep them there. They were there for the weekend. And he tried to get away, but I had to stop him.
And you laid your hands on him?
Yeah, I laid my hands on him. I had no oil, but my hand was I laid hands on him. As long as the anointing is there, if you ain't got the oil, it's okay.
Yes, indeed.
I laid my hands on him, and he was done. I mean, as far as my brother is concerned, that just doesn't happen. But it do happen, and we have to face the fact that does happen.
Wow.
And the story was very, it was told very well, because you felt his pain. You saw the mother. She was confused, and because at the point he was walking out the door, and she's like, "Well, why are you leaving?" Because she loved him. She like, when she knew he was coming over, it was like a big, like, oh, my brother's coming over. So I think that I have to give props to all the people that were behind that movie too. I thought that they put that in particular, that scene really touched me, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. I love the way you guys did it. And I like the way you guys put the comedic spin on it too. When the wife got out there, boy, she swung him around in the air.
Yeah, that was good. He held him. He held him because I lost everything, and so when I took him down to the ground, and what he did, he gave himself away. He had said, I asked him, "What did you do to my daughter?" And he said, I didn't do anything to you. I never made her dance, and I never mentioned anything about her dancing. I would never make her dance. So it was sort of let the cat out the bag. And I swung and I hit him, and he went down. I went on top of him, and my wife was saying, why are you doing this to your brother? And I said, he touched our daughter, and that's all she needed to hear. She was in on it. It was like a 2-on-1. And he was pretty much, he'll remember that.
So where is this production at, like, right now? Is it on YouTube? Is it anywhere that anybody can see it now?
Right now, I believe what Rashim Kilo Pugh is doing, and he is the visionary behind It Takes a Village, along with Morgan. I think Morgan. What's Morgan last name? Addington. Yes, I'm sorry, Morgan. I'm sorry. But then what happened with this is though that I love it too, Donna, with what they did and how they went about doing it. That they took a whole school, Harrison Middle School. The principal, he was in it. There were teachers. There were the students. It was all about the students. It wasn't about me. It was about the students. And what happened is there was not even a script written for this, prescript word by word. But there was our kids. We come to find out that our kids are so talented. All we have to do is give them the chance to show what they have, to do something productive, do something positive, and they took the scenarios and whatever that was told to them, the scene, what was going on in the scene, and we just let them go. I mean, of course, there were some things that you needed them to say, but they understand each other, and they took.
Yeah, and they did an awesome job.
They did an awesome job, and of course, you have to give props to everyone that was involved, even behind the scenes, because it would have taken place with everyone that was there. And there are people that are behind it. You don't ever see them, but they are. You need those people in place when you're trying to put together a production like this. We sold out the first theater, and then we had to open up another one, sold that one out, and then open up another one. There were people who weren't able to see it, but after it had toured for a moment, they asked that it come back and we do an encore. And we did the next month, the month of March. And he's been showing it in the school systems now, and that's what's going on with the production now. I wanted to try to get some national distribution for it and maybe get it in some of the red boxes and some of the other places where you can pick up video. But that's
cool.
the plan.
Yeah.
This brother, he's shooting now as we speak. He's shooting another production called Love's Hue.
And
he'll be shooting.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
Go ahead. No, go. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
And he's in the middle of shooting that now, and beginning in September, the 1st of September, we'll begin to shoot my movie, which is called 6 Weeks or Less.
Wow. That
And
sounds...
the book comes out September 15th, Donna.
That sounds serious.
September 15th.
September 15th.
September 15th.
It's called 6
You
Weeks
said
or Less.
16th or 15th?
15th.
6 weeks or less.
And we're scheduling a book tour as we speak.
That's what's
okay.
up.
Can you tell us a little bit about it, or
yeah,
do you have to wait
I
until it comes?
I really do want you to get it when it comes. But I'm going to tell you a little something about it. The book is called 6 Weeks or Less because it's about my life. I've been all around the world and back, but I have so much that I can share, and I want to share, and I want to be able to minister in the way of this book as well as the movie. But the movie will be an extension of the book. What happens is that in 6 weeks or less, that's what I was given to live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, after having pancreatic cancer. And prior to that, I had suffered a total gastrectomy in 1981. That is a total loss of your stomach. I lost my entire stomach. That's why they call it total. Sometimes you hear people speak of you had a partial gastrectomy, which is half of your stomach if you're having issues with maybe an ulcers or some type of colon cancer. Mm-hmm. But I had a total gastrectomy, and I was disabled at 17.
Wow.
With total gastrectomy, what that came about there, I had that surgery, 6 hours. I had a bowel surgery following 2 years later, and that was from complications from the first surgery. And I had about 6 hours surgery there. It was Rusty Chapel Hill to have that done. And then a year or two later, I was diagnosed with a terminally ill disease called Zollinger-Ellison syndrome.
Wow.
Zollinger-Ellison syndrome is very rare. It was only 10 cases known to man in the world in 85. And I was one of them. Jeez. And so that's why now I'm setting up my foundation, along with we're working on the book and the movie, as well as the ministry itself, all those things working together. But the foundation to continue to find research for Zollinger-Ellison syndrome and to help in the advancement of cancer research, because I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. I didn't get to the other one. I suffered liver cancer in 2009. So let me go back. 6 weeks or less was when I was at a point where I was in Chapel Hill after going through from 81 to 87. Spent the majority of my life there in Chapel Hill with all the illnesses that I had, and just being in a bad way, going through terribly at a very young age, and wasn't yet called into the ministry then. But what happened with that is I was there for the weekend, and they were testing me. After in 85, they saw that it was in my pancreas. And what happens is that by me spending so much time in the hospital, I've learned a lot of the language, was that in the pancreas there are cells that send signals to the stomach to make acid after you've eaten. And what happens is that, and that's why we're so wonderfully and fearfully made, but what happens is that once it has gone through its process and has broken down your food, and then it continue to go through the large and small intestines, so they're supposed to stop sending those signals so that you can stop making this acid to break down this food. Well, what happened, these cells that was in my pancreas they continue to send signals, make acid. And my acidic level was very high. I remember being in Chapel Hill, and they were pumping this acid out of me after I had gotten there. Let me back up, because when I got there, prior to them telling me about what was going on with my system, what happens is that my stomach had gotten so rotten it had eaten up my stomach. I mean, with the acid, it just eaten it up. And so it has continued to make this acid. So we come to find out that they needed to go back, see what's going on with these cells, find out that these cells were bad. We need to go inside your pancreas, see if there's something we could do. And they did that. So in 85, I was there, and they were testing me for that whole weekend. It had become aggressive. They had said prior to that, a year and a half before, because I spent 81 to 87, majority of that time in Chapel Hill, that we're going to watch it. You know, this is very rare. We don't know a whole lot about it, and technology don't assist us with anything, but we'll watch it. And it seemed to be very slow, but it had gotten aggressive over a year and a half. I'm there for the weekend. They're testing me, and they see that this has grown to consume my pancreas, my colon, my intestines, my blood vessels. Practically my whole right side of my body was literally dead with this cancer. And I was too far gone to even take chemo or radiation. So I remember them coming in my room, and they said to me, they said, Jeffrey, it has gotten so aggressive that what has happened is that if we put you on the operating table now, you won't come off. You'll die once we open you up. And we don't want to take any chances on your life. You're a young man, but what will happen is within 6 weeks or less, this is going to erupt, and you're going to die. And we'll do something then. We don't want to take any chances. And so then they said, you're discharged. You can go home. There's nothing else that we can do. And so then, of course, by hearing that, being a young man, it didn't really sink in right then and there. It was just, okay. I called my sister to come get me, and she said, asked me, was I okay? I said, yeah. She came. She said, okay, I'm coming. So I prepared to get ready to leave the hospital. And as I got in the shower, I mean, it's like it hit me. They were saying to me that I'm going to die in 6 weeks or less. I'm not going to see my mother. I'm one of 9 kids, 7 boys, 2 girls. Never knew my father. All I knew was my mother. And my brothers and sisters, of course. And I just cried out to God. And I told him all about it, if he didn't know. And he spoke to me right then and there in the shower. He said to me if I had faith, if I believed, that he would heal me. And it was immediately. It was something that had taken over my body, and it had to be the Lord. That what had consumed me was coming out of me. And when I got out of the shower, I knew I was healed. I knew that he had been healed of pancreatic cancer. And I went home, of course, knew that something had taken place in my room, in my shower. And I got a call from my doctor, and 6 weeks later, and he said to me, Jeffrey, we need can you a case study? We need you to come back down here. We have 30 doctors that are all over the world that are discussing your case. They want to know why you're still living. Why aren't you dead? Why haven't you called us? We've been waiting, sort of. But he said, could you come back down here? And I said, sure. And I went back. They were there. Sure enough, I was a case study. They had my x-rays on the screen. He said, when you go in, just go sit to the wall. They'll be talking. They may ask you some questions afterwards, but I just want them to see you. And sure enough, I went and sat down, looked on the screen. I saw where, even the staples that were there in 81 are still there now. But I saw how they did the total gastrectomy. They took out my stomach and where they connected my esophagus with my intestine. My intestines did the work of my stomach, and that's what took so much out of me because my body is in shock. It's trying to figure out what's going on. But what happened is they began to look at all this, and they said, now, we remember taking the stomach out in 81, but if you look right here on the computer, on the screen, that looks like a stomach, very little small stomach right there. And it's just powerful to me. It is. I had an opportunity to glorify God in the midst of those 30 doctors who were there, and at the end of the day, their conclusion was that something in my brain clicked and put it in remission.
Wow.
So then, of course, can I fast forward?
Yeah, go.
No chemo, no radiation now. That was in 1987.
Wow.
20-plus years later, I'm at home, where I'm at now, in my bedroom where I'm at now. I was watching ESPN, and I was just eating some broccoli, some ranch dressing. You know how we do. Trying to stay healthy. I can eat anything I want. I'm on no particular diet. I don't take shots. I did at one point, but God healed me when he healed me of that. He healed me of everything. But I was just sitting here, and I was eating that, and I felt the pain. Felt like something I've had before, which was locked bowels. I had locked bowels 3 times, but on the 3rd time they operated. And what happened is that I told my wife, Trina Wall, I said, look, I'm I'm not feeling well. I was trying to man up, you know. I said, I need to go to the emergency room. Went to the emergency room, went straight back. Very rare. You go in the emergency room, they take it straight back. Everybody's still sitting in there, but they call me back. I said, she go give them my name. They said, bring them back. I go back. 2-3 minutes later, I'm in the bath. There's people there in front of me. I said, okay, God, what are you doing? I know he was doing something. And then he told me, just as plain as we're talking, he said, this isn't unto death, but this is for those that are around. I said, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm in pain. I'm hurting. They said I suffered a mild ileus. An ileus is when your intestines flip and twist. It locks, another blockage. Did it on its own, but they said, what it'll do, it'll loosen itself, and, you know, we'll give you something for the pain. But while you're here, let's take an X-ray. Took an X-ray. Come to find out there's a 12-centimeter mass in the lower lobe of my liver that was inward. The lower lobe hadn't yet affected me in a way where it, you know, I've gotten jaundice or any of my other organs, but it was a 12-centimeter mass of cancer sitting in my liver. And so what they did, they referred me back to my family physician, who referred me to an oncologist. I went and talked to him, Dr. Inover, and come to find out Dr. Inover is a believer. His whole staff are believers, and I just love the man. And he said to me, he said, Jeffrey, he said, now you've been here before. That you know what God can do. And if he doesn't do it, it can't be done. What do you want to do? I said, well, let me talk to my pastor, Pastor Michael Cotton, over at the Body of Christ Christian Church in High Point. And I'll get back with you, Dr. Inover. So what happens is I come back with him. I bring my pastor. We have a prayer meeting in his office for about 30 minutes, and at the end of the day, we said, okay. He said, look, this is what we can do. Because with cancer, he said, what we could do is go inside the organ and shrink it. We can put chemo and radiation, shoot it on the inside. It may shrink it. It won't disappear, but it'll probably bring it to where it's very small, because this was huge. This was the size of 3 grapefruits. It was 12-centimeter mass in the lower lobe. And so he said, or we could just take it out. What do you want to do? So at that time, I was working on a play called Fences by August Wilson, and we were doing it at the Open Space Cafe Theater. And I said, okay, Dr. Inover, let me finish this production, and then we'll go take it out. And that's what we did. We finished the production. At the end of March, went to Chapel Hill, had surgery, took half of my liver and my gallbladder, and I went back a few days later, talked to my doctor. He said, we've gotten it all. There was nothing lying dormant anywhere else in your body. No chemo, no radiation.
Wow.
So let me ask you this. Was this like...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was this illness, the onset of your illness, was it hereditary? Was anybody in your family sick like this?
No. We've had some... We have your high blood pressures and those things, but we've had a few cancers, but not Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. This is rare. I just spoke recently, last week, as a matter of fact, because I was getting more information for my book, to one of the doctors that was there, Dr. Buccini, who has an office here in Greensboro now, and he was saying to me, even on last week, that Jeffrey, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome is still rare. There's not a lot of cases of it, but we know of it, and this is something here. I met the guy at the time that Zollinger-Ellison, it was named after a doctor. Why, I don't know, but he just recently passed. But I met his best friend on a plane coming back from Hawaii, and I just happened, every time the door opened, I'll share my testimony, and people, he said, I know Dr. Zollinger. I know him. We went to school together. We're in class. And it was just rare. But what he did is that he'd take his whole team over to Africa, and they treat people, with no charge. That's their mission, to go over there and to do that annually. They do it yearly. And I met him, and he said he had just gotten back from doing that. And that's his passion. That's what he do. No, there's nothing in the family that nothing like that. We've had, like I said, we've had our cancers. But both times, no radiation. Now, I go to the doctor now, my numbers, everything check out fine with me. I don't have any, there's nothing. I mean, I'm talking total restoration.
Wow. That's beautiful.
You wouldn't know it, Donna. Nobody would know it unless I told them.
You know, and I understand where you're coming from, because my son was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 3.
Wow.
And you wouldn't know it either. Matter of fact, we walk around here sniffling and laid out when colds hit us, and walking around eating a banana and apple, and it's like, what's wrong with you? So, yeah, God is beautiful.
Very powerful. So that's what 6 Weeks or Less is about. The book, it goes into a whole lot of detail. I've gone through a great deal in my life, and I know that I've been working on this book for some time. It's just so happened to be that this is the time that I'm to do it. This is the season in order to do the book and to do the movie. Everything's in place, and we got a lot of people that are praying for it, and we're still looking for people to collaborate and to partner with us as we continue to go forward on this.
Wow.
Congratulations on that, man. God, that sounds good.
Well, I tell you what, brother, I know that there's a purpose. I just turned 50 this year, and I have a wife. I have 3 kids and a grandson, and it's like, okay, now, had that had happened, had I lost my life back then these people wouldn't be here, of course. And that's why I know that they're precious. My daughter, she was born after my mother passed, like 2 months later, and I know that she's so special. All of them are, but it's just something about her. God knew what I needed right when she passed to give me a daughter, and she's named after my mother. And she's just like her. I mean, she just carries her spirit around it. So I'm just know I'm here for a purpose, and I want to be able to fulfill what that purpose is on a daily basis. I mean, if I can just say something to somebody to lift them up, or even to approach them with a smile or something, where they may not have one. That's really what it's all about. It's about not about me. It's just about me being a servant and just serving. Well,
Jeffrey, you are, boy, it's like each guest that comes on here, it makes me go, wow. But you are truly, you're amazing. And all through that, like you said, that you're acting, you're associate pastor, and you still keep it moving. So I would, my hands go, my hat goes off to you. It really does.
Thank you, Donna. I know that because I'm here. I really have to. I can't. Do I want to? My passion. I love the stage. I'm a School of the Arts, and from '82 to '84, I love the stage. That's the place where I can go and just invent almost. But I love that. I've had to put it on the back burner so that I can focus on the book. I want the book to speak, and it will after I'm gone, to encourage. It's going to do a whole lot to whoever read it. Every chapter that you read in this book is going to bless you in some kind of way. A lot of it deals with my mother raising 9 kids alone, me being a child. It talks about me being sexually abused as a child, and I deal with that. Book.
Wow.
So the book is very powerful. It's gonna speak.
Wow.
And that's the purpose, that it just point everybody towards God, to their help, to somebody that can do something for them, and He will. And I've come to find out that with the ministry, Faith to Believe Ministries, that's my ministry, and the foundation. I'm doing all those things right now, and because this is the time we need this. We need an anchor. We need an anchor for our soul, because with what's going on in the world, with planes that are falling out of the sky because they've been shot down, and people killing one another, no morals, or no respect, or no love. We need something to hold on to. But this book, every chapter, as I said, is going to minister to somebody. They do so many things. We just have to have faith to believe, and that's my ministry. So that's all I had to have. He said if I have faith and if I believe, He would heal me. And I'm here today because of that. Now, why didn't He heal other people? I don't know. But when I questioned Him, when I was going through all this, because we do question God about things in life that we go through when life comes, and then, of course, the enemy rears his ugly head. We say, why? Why me? And He told me plainly, why not you? But then He told me, He said, look, because I know you would tell it. And that's what He said. Every time the door opens and I don't know where people are, I don't know where they're going, what crossroad they're at, what they're trying to do. in their life. But every time that door opened, I go in and I would share. I remember I won a Star Search, Donna, in Atlanta. I was with the agency here in Greensboro. Went to Atlanta, competed in the acting category. I won first place. I signed with Marsha Wiseman. Will Smith is manager, and she got me out in L.A. She said, if you can get to L.A., I'll put you to work. Went to L.A. I flew out there. She had so much work for me. I was getting to my appointments on the bus in L.A. now. If you've ever been to L.A., everything is stop and go. And so I'm trying to get to these auditions on the bus. So I said, well, I got a car at home. Let me fly home and get my car and drive back. And sure enough, so I did. I flew home. Got my Hyundai. They just came out in 91. XL, hatchback, no cruise, no air. He said, you can't drive to California.
No cruise, no air.
I said, yes, I can. I said, God said I can. And every time he tells me I could do something, I'll do it because I believe him. I don't believe nobody but him. Whatever he tells me I could do, I do it. Because I know it's not me, but it's him. But he's saying, go do this. And it's about being obedient. So I got in my Hyundai, drove at night out to California, slept in the daytime, and got out there, and I worked. I directed. I was in Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. What's Love Got to Do with it there? I directed a production called The Reverend's Good Wife with Isabel Sanford and Sherman Hemsley, with Frida Payne, Roger Mosley, and Robert Doakey. Also, Mr. Destiny was in that with James Belushi. I don't know if you saw that one, but then commercials and movies. But what happened was I was a death in the family, and I got in a call, and it's like I snapped. I came back to myself because I said that could have been my mother. And I packed up the Hyundai. I had two agents that I was with and a manager. Packed up the Hyundai, left out that early morning Tuesday, got home on a Saturday in time for the funeral. And didn't look back. I haven't been back out as far as doing anything in that area, but that was the case. That's what happened. Wow. So that's just one part. Just going after your goals, just pursuing your dreams. And just trying to follow after that passion. And that's what I have a passion for. I came back, been here. Of course, early years, I went out to New York with my band, had a band. We traveled, done a lot of things in the High Point, Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. And went to go try to pursue the dreams in the Bronx. Imagine 21-year-old guy, and I'm disabled now, but I had my band, 21-year-old with about 7, 8, no, probably about 9 or 10 other guys with a few roadies. But we went there, and we pursued it. High Point gave us a big going away. Went to D.C., opened up for Trouble Funk and Rare Essence, the Class Band, Shady Groove Band. Mm-hmm. Went on to the Bronx, stayed on the Concourse, Executive Towers. And the shocking thing about that is when we had gotten to New York, never been out of High Point or probably out of High Point or Greensboro, but we had gotten there, so a young guy, 17 years old, had jumped from 24 stories in the same building that we were living in. And he was on drugs. He was on some speed. He thought he could fly. And he landed right there in front of the doorman. And when we had gotten there was these candles there, and we didn't know what was wrong. We asked, and they said that's what happened. That's what the guy had killed himself. But then here we are. Okay, well, now, are we in the right place? But, yeah, we were in the right place because we were pursuing our dreams. But they had the opportunity to play in Harlem at the Baby Grand and at Paradise in Harlem. We played downtown, the Governmental Plaza on 125th Street, big flatbed. We opened up down there. Co-op City, South Bronx. We played a lot of areas there, but we pursued it. And we were at a point where we were about ready, Donna, to sign a contract with Arista Records through Hush Productions with Paul Lawrence Jones,
Paul Lawrence,
Neville Moore and Kashif and Lilo Thomas, Freddie Jackson. They were all
Lilo
a part
Thomas.
of Hush.
Oh, man.
You remember Lilo?
Man, Lilo, Freddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I remember all that.
Absolutely. They were all the part of Hush Production with Paul Lawrence. They found Evelyn King, as a matter of fact.
Uh-huh.
They found her. Of course, I think she was cleaning bathrooms when she was singing, and they heard her. And they signed her to the record deal.
Record deal in the book.
And so we were at a point where we were about ready to sign with these guys. Long story short, my band members, I got to give them some love. On the bass was Juicy Johnny, and on the lead was was Jammin' Jane. He sang all the Prince songs.
Mm-hmm.
He had Luscious Larry on the drums. Reddy Ron on the keyboard, and Scotty Yaz in Puerto Rican, and Veronica, we call her Ducey. She's Fantasia's aunt. Awesome singer. She could sing. You talking about can sing some Patty, but awesome singer.
Wow. And
what happened was that Paul, he heard us downtown, the government of Plaza. He said, look, man, I like you guys. Now, at this particular time, New Edition had just signed a major contract with MCA Records, Candy Girl.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're there, and he said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get some 45s. You know, a lot of people ain't heard about the 45. I'm going to get some records. He gave us a string of 45 with Lilo. So Lilo and Melba would go out and tour together, along with Kashif. And what they wanted was a band for Lilo, so he didn't have to tour with Melba and Kashif, or vice versa, however. But Freddie was a backup singer at that time. Mm-hmm. And so what he said, look, I want you guys to be Lilo Thomas's backup band, and you can work on your originals all at the same time. And so we was there, this is what we come for. So he got the 45, we went down, we was on the 17th floor, went down into the basement down there and got our instruments, brought them up through. And these players, my guys, my brothers, these guys are so talented they can play in their sleep, right? But they learned the songs, great, bam. We was waiting on Paul. Paul lived next door to us. He had his studio right there in his home. So he comes over the next day. I'm cooking breakfast. You got about 10 guys in this 2-bedroom apartment with some roadies, and we're living in the Bronx on the 161st Street, trying to make it in the business. And so he said, guys, let me hear what you got. And so the guys began to crank up, and it was like a dream. Because here are these guys who've been playing all their lives, and it seems as if nothing went right from that point on. They couldn't hit the notes. Something with the notes were flat. I remember hearing James saying, I could hear that grunt now. Because it seemed like it just wasn't happening. His fingers would not go right on the. I tell you what, that whole day, that was like a nightmare. It really was, because these guys, I think they were just nervous. Just like if you go on Star Search, if you go on any of these shows, and then all of a sudden you know you could sing, you know you could perform, but at that time when you really need to do your best performance, it doesn't happen right then and there. And Paul said, look, guys, I know you guys good. I heard you. I seen you. And my manager's coming down here today because I told him about you, and he wants to hear you. And I can't let him hear you like that. So here we are in this room. We're saying, come on, Paul, wait a minute. I mean, you've heard it. You know we could perform. He was afraid that we were going to choke then before his manager or his people. And he wasn't going to have him come downtown. And so he said, I tell you guys what, go back to North Carolina. You got your contact. It's expensive to live here. You know, just go back, and you can come back and show me what you got. Work on your originals. And we did that. But the band dissolved after about 2 or 3 years. And I have to know that most of the people in the band are pastors. That's funny to me. But it's not, because we did have an opportunity to do what we love to do, and we traveled, and we touched people. We were young and energetic, and we're going to be writing them into the movie as well, the band, and I already got the screen for that, and I'm looking for some young guys to play the band at a younger age. And we're almost like the Five Heartbeats guys, I'm telling you. If you know, because that's how we met our manager. Our manager saw us playing at a club in Asheboro. He said, I like you guys. I want to be your manager.
I'm looking for, what's the name of the book again and the movie again?
6 Weeks or Less.
6 weeks or less. Hey, I hate this part of the show. This is we have to wrap it up. I hate this, man, because number one, you got such a compelling story. Number two, although you had a rare disease and everything, it's plain to see that you're a rare gem, man. You're a diamond, man. This is incredible. Yeah. I love hearing your story, man. Hey, we're going to be looking for 6 weeks or less to come out, and they get the book as well as the movie, and we got to end the doggone show. I was about to say DAM, but I'm not going to say it because you're a pastor, and I'll get in trouble.
Well, you have to have me back when the book comes out. How about that?
Definitely.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
Definitely.
Yes.
Powerful. Hey, we had Mr. Jeffery L Wall here with us tonight, actor and pastor, associate pastor and everything. Mr. Wall, you tell us what church that is that you're associate pastor at?
I'm at the Body of Christ Christian Church, Disciples of Christ in High Point, with Pastor Michael J. Cotton as the senior pastor. I associate. him. I assist him there. And we're at 425 Nathan Hunt Drive.
That's what it is. Hey, come on back, man. Join us again. You're like family here. And aside from the fact that you got a great voice, and I almost thought you were going to take my job tonight.
Oh man, I wouldn't do that to you, Doc.
That's the end of the show. Kicking it with Donna and Ro on Raw Still Radio. Compliments of thebigchat.com and stillmagonline.com. Let's do it again next week, 8 o'clock. We out of here.
Peace.
The girl down the hall, misused and abused. Yeah. Pick your head up, love.